afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Girl Get Up podcast. I am your host, the Korean Chancellor, and this is the podcast where I share my stories. I bring my guests on, they share their stories, all in hopes and inspires you, the listening audience, to go out and discover your infinite possibilities. Today, I have a guest. Her name is Miss Kacey Becker. Kacey, please share with the audience who you are and what you do.
So I am a former Marine and I am a mother of two. And I wrote this children's book to help prevent the bullying of children who have special needs.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. So, you wrote a book about teaching your community about children with special needs. Could you share about your upbringing? What experiences did you have in your upbringing that prepared you for advocacy?
So two parts. So my father, growing up, he volunteered to help children who have special needs. There was a horse ranch not too far from where I lived where they would help children who have special needs kind of interact with the horses and ride the horses, and they always needed volunteers to kind of help guide the horses and help children up, and it was a beautiful thing. And at such a young age, I'd say somewhere around like 7, I watched this and I knew it was good. So when the opportunity kind of showed up for me as a child, to volunteer, I started doing it myself. That's actually its whole story in itself. If you want me to share that with you, I totally can. Um, so this the book where it stemmed from. So the elementary school that I went to, about 10 blocks away, somewhere in that range, was a whole school dedicated to children who have developmental disabilities. And before inclusion was a thing, I'm not sure. Are you familiar with what inclusion is?
The integration of the children with like public schools, they all kids can go, and then you have children with IEPs and special needs that are able
Yeah,
to the classroom with all their peers, pretty much.
absolutely. And they did a ton of research leading into integration and inclusion, excuse me, both, they're interchangeable. Um, they've just shown, the research shows that children who have those developmental delays, disabilities, they end up to become better, well-rounded adults because they had the ability to socialize with their peers. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But, in the 90s, it wasn't the case. Even prior to that, it just wasn't the case. So to have a whole school dedicated to children who have special needs was just phenomenal, like ahead of its time, in my opinion. So we had our elementary school, public elementary school. Down the road, we had this whole school dedicated to children who had special needs. I believe they could go up to the age of 19 and then they could graduate. So what they used to do is they used to bus the older kids over to the elementary school and help out some of the adults. So the cafeteria staff, they'd help serve food or maintenance, do some repairs, cleanup crew, whatever it was, just building some life skills so that when they do graduate, they have some job skills to be able to go out in the working world, which is totally awesome. Again, ahead of its time. And I remember sitting there with my classmates, and there was a boy cleaning a table in front of us. And I say a boy, he was probably 17, 18 at the time. And he was cleaning the tables, and my classmates were making fun of him. And I had never witnessed true bullying before, right? Like I had my brothers who were relentlessly, mean to me because little sister. But
Right.
I don't think I ever truly witnessed bullying. And so I didn't really know what I was looking at. I just knew it didn't feel right, like looking at that. So, not too long after that, they created a volunteer program where the kids from my school, the elementary school, could then go over to the school. It's called Nina Harris. To go over to Nina Harris to help uh, volunteer with the teachers and interact with children who have special needs. So, raise my hand, right? I was like, my dad is going to be so proud of me. This is something that he did. I thought personally, like watching my dad do this, this is what grown-ups do, right? It's no different than, you watch an exchange of two adults talking. You're like, oh, this is the way grown-ups talk. I just thought it was something all grown-ups did. They went and helped.
Mhm.
So I was probably one of three kids that ended up going on this thing. And by the second time I went, I was the only kid on this bus. I was like nine, maybe. And I ended up volunteering with this woman named Kim Ralston. And it was such an experience. Like if anything, I wish kids could experience that more, but now with inclusion, they could really see that and kind of build a little bit more understanding towards, children who have special needs, children who are truly different in the way that they think. Doesn't
Mhm.
make it bad by any means, but like I got to experience that firsthand working with all these children who were just so unique. And my favorite part, I think, what stuck in my brain is that one day I was leaving her classroom and I saw that boy, the one that the kids were making fun of. So I asked, my teacher, Kim, I was like, who is that? And she said, oh, that's Ed. Ed is about to graduate. He's 100% deaf and 100% blind.
Oh,
And there
wow.
he was at the school cleaning tables, building job skills. And it was this overwhelming sense of guilt. Like I should have stood up for him. Like, and again, I didn't know any better. So that kind of stuck with me my whole life. It really did. And when this idea kind of came into my mind, I was texting with my husband. I was like, man, I'm thinking about Ed. Like I'm really thinking about, and he says, well, maybe you should do something about it. And that's where this idea came from, is why not educate children while they're young, while they're still learning? Because, we're growing as people. You don't know any better until you're taught better. And
Mhm.
why not educate them about special needs, help perceive special needs as not something to be taunted or mimicked or, like these kids were doing when I was younger, but rather perceive it as superpowers. And that's kind of where the idea came from.
I love that. You turn something that is perceived as a disability and you make it a that's a perfect segue into the book because before I want to give you the opportunity to talk about my question was going to be to you is how did you decide that a children's book was the correct path to address the bullying issue of youth with special needs? We see a lot of parents who might go to school boards or go the route of trying to change legislation. So how did you decide that I'm going to go the route of becoming an author and sharing stories? And while you're doing that, could you share the title of your book?
Sure. So this is I See Superheroes Everywhere. It's available on Amazon. So I decided on a children's book because, adults, I wouldn't say that we're more reluctant to change, we're more reluctant to grow as human beings. But as a child, you're constantly changing, you're constantly growing, you're becoming who you are, and hate and love, hate is taught, love you're born with. And until you're taught to be different, to be angry, to be, you just love. And I just feel like this book is an opportunity to teach love to a child who understands love. And
Hmm.
it's like nip it in the bud, start really young so that they can grow up as good adults. And
Yeah.
even as an adult, like when you have kids, like they're constantly teaching you these things, right? Like you're growing as a person with your kids and you're learning new things and how to be more patient, how to be more compassionate, how to be, all those things. So if your child comes to you one day and it's like, hey, my best friend is deaf and I want to learn how to do sign language. You as a person are like, wow, like that's amazing. And in your head, you're like, wow, you're teaching me something too. Like, how amazing would that be to just know that your child wants to empathize with another child who is deaf or is blind or is autistic or has Down syndrome. I mean, there's just so many different things that a child is exposed to now, and then it can help. I don't know, just build a more compassionate generation. Like that's how I see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And it extends far past that because for me, you never know 10, 15 years down the line who's going to pick up that book on Amazon. Who's going to pick
Yeah.
up that book at a book club that you might do at your local school. But legislation changes, rules and policies, all of those change. So for something to be a legacy, leaving a legacy behind these.
Thanks.
Thank
And
you, Kate.
I will say, thank you for thanking me. I also worked with a teacher who has over 25 years of experience to build a
Mm,
lesson plan so that
really?
teachers could teach this in their classroom. Like that's the ultimate goal of this book. I want this book in every classroom in every language around the world because this doesn't just affect, kids in Florida, kids in Wyoming. Like this affects everyone in every community of every ethnicity, every religion. Like everyone has interaction with people who have special
What's your
needs.
vision for how communities can better support youth with special needs? And
Volunteering.
okay.
I hands down, like being friends with someone with special needs, 100%. Volunteering at communities who work with adults or children with special needs, definitely. Like there's such a shortage of that compassion because it takes a lot of patience and compassion to work with someone who might not be able to feed themselves, who might need assistance walking. Like there's a lot of different things, a lot challenges. Yeah, there's a lot of different challenges that come with each unique person who has special needs. And there's just no better way to build such a soft heart, to step up and truly give your time to someone who, is just trying to live their life.
Yeah. Yeah. And how can your book help with providing that support? And we kind of talked about that because you have a whole curriculum. Go ahead, girl. You can say it again.
Well, so the discussion questions for sure, but on my website, the My Heart, like My Heart, I call my children and my husband My Heart, so that's where that came from.
Okay.
So myheart-publishing.com. There is additional discussion questions as well as like a coloring page. So if a teacher teaches it in the classroom and a parent wants to continue that discussion, they can go on the website, they can snag the coloring page and interact with their child beyond the classroom so that again it really sinks in and there's true comprehension of the concepts taught in the book.
Some of those questions, if you don't mind, maybe two or three that can help discussion questions that can help give us an
Sure.
idea of what to expect when they purchase I see superheroes everywhere.
Sure. So first question would be, what are special needs?
Mm,
And I think that comes back to, relating to what the child's interests are. So
okay.
when I was saying like cars or transformers earlier, like maybe as a parent or a guardian, doesn't matter, teacher, to be able to relate to the children to say, oh, special needs are XYZ, kind of like, I don't know the name of Transformers, don't judge. Like, oh, Optimus Prime. Okay, I got this.
So let me ask you this. Do you find that children with special needs, they may not feel different from other kids?
I really think that depends on how they're treated, right?
Okay.
So it can be frustrating because you meet a lot of young adults or even older adults. Like my uncle didn't get diagnosed with Asperger's until maybe 5 years ago, and he's 60 something now.
Mhm.
Like to be treated different your whole life and then to find out as an adult, well, I think differently than everyone else. I think that can create, like in your mind, it creates some sense of frustration. It's like, man, if only I had known this about myself, then I could have learned in a different way. And then maybe I could have been able to relate more to my peers, or I could have, you know, had a situation where I knew to avoid this because it's not that not every child who has special needs, it doesn't stand out necessarily. And I
Right.
think that, visibly it might not be apparent to kids who are not neurodivergent. Like, so I guess I don't know if as an individual, a child who has special needs feels differently. Um, you know what
Right.
I mean? And it's such a
So we're
helpless
going to
feeling.
include
And then
all the
that's what I would
links
call
in
it.
the show notes. Before I let you go, this is a platform of inspiring people to believe in their infinite possibilities. And as an author with a social cause, Please share with the audience your motivational message that will help the listeners.
Motivational message. Man, maybe what a difference you could make in the life of a human being by just being nice.
Mm,
I like it. That was on the spot.
I love it. Share with the audience, oh, before I let you go, too, where they can find you, more about Kacey.
Definitely the website, the myheart-publishing.com.
Okay.
Also on Facebook at myheart publishing LLC, and then Instagram at myheart publishing as well. Um, that's the social media platforms I'm on right now. I'm not sure how to navigate the other ones quite yet. I'm learning. A little behind with the time.
Yeah, that's okay.
But
Hey,
yeah,
do you have any initiatives coming up? Are you going to be doing any speaking engagements? Are you coming out with another book? Or you have anything else that you would like to promote?
I will promote that there will be two follow-up books to this, make it a full circle here. So the next book has been written, it's been drawn up. I need to paint it, and then I need to actually get it, out there again. Just with moving and everything, my time has been eaten up tremendously, but I'm really hoping that by next year I can get that second book out there. And that book is going to focus on how to be friends with someone who has special needs.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's really. And then third book, I haven't decided on how I want to introduce it, but the basis is going to be somewhere around of how not to be a bully.
I love it.
Yeah, so full circle here, perceiving children who have special needs as superheroes, how to be friends with someone who has special needs, and how not to be a bully, like truly let it, bring home or come on home. I forget the expression. Bring it on
Bring it.
home. Can't think.
So with that, thank you, Kacey. I really appreciate you being on the Girl Get Up podcast. You hold on. I'm gonna leave you send you off the right way. But for the audience, we will see them next episode. Take care, everyone.